do all day, every day, is just watch men project. That's it. It's the craziest shit ever. I'm like, wow, they just keep saying the thing that men do. They keep saying that, oh no, but women do that. And I'm like, but that's what men do. What are you talking about? That's the thing that men do. That's the thing that men do. Oh man. That's crazy, man. The kitchen, what's good? Oh, the kitchen, let's see if we get the kitchen up here. Accepted the LGBTQ and abortions. I like those responses, the kitchen. I like those responses. Come up here and let's discuss them. Family. Hey, this is a safe space. I'm gonna tell you, like I told all the men before, this is a safe space, a public safe space. Okay, and I don't mean me, no pun intended. It's a public safe space. You know, you could, before you come up, if you don't want to read the comments, definitely cut the comments off. Okay, you deny my request. I will mute you for the rest of the live. You can stick around and watch though. If you want to come up and get unmuted, you're more than welcome to come up and get unmuted. You invited him. That was a good invite. Good job, Sean. We need Sean. Sean my liaison. Sean my liaison. Yeah. Ambassador. We got an ambassador up in here too, I guess. Ambassador, oh no. Is it ambassador? It is. What's good with you, family? Hold on, let's unmute him. He muted up. I don't know what happened. Go ahead, ambassador. Sean doing the Lord's work for real today. Ambassador, you got to come off of mute, fam. Yeah, I can y'all hear him? Y'all, you don't. I was gonna say it don't look like you off of mute. I can hear you, but I don't know if they can because it's still muted. It says you're muted on. Okay, I can hear him. It's crazy. It might be delayed actually. I don't know. Don't worry. You make sure you come off of mute when you get a chance because you still not off of mute. So just like hit the mute on and off real quick. It look like you're not off of mute yet. What did it say? Uh-huh. Oh, my fault. Unmute. My bad. I was inviting you to unmute. And I hit mute again. You got to unmute. My bad. There you go.
Oh, no, that's all right.
Yeah.
No, I was having a bad signal. Okay.
You good now? Yeah. We hear you. What's good?
But no,
What's good?
I guess they wanted me to. Pretty good. I appreciate you, man, for letting me come up. I guess they wanted me to come up and speak about what I was saying in the comment about women produce schemes.
You were saying women produce schemes,
but
okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying men produce schemes.
I'm saying that it's no. I was saying women. They have a way. I guess ultimately, from your perspective, I can see why we really don't have to have a problem when it comes to women being a threat. I think a lot of times, you know, when women have to act in a violent way in their way, is usually because men operate the way they operate, and so because women can't protect themselves physically, they have to do schemes to undermine the men.
Okay. Like if she's in a relationship with an abusive husband and she starts like poisoning his food.
Right, exactly. So that's when the schemes start coming out. So I could understand where you coming from with that. So.
Yeah, I'm perfectly okay with that scheme. Free that woman till she free. She in a relationship with a nigga knocking her head between the washer and dryer for not having his liver and onions prepared when he gets home. Yeah, definitely. Go on and start putting that WD-40 in his food and shit. Whatever y'all be putting in there. That what's that, antifreeze? Start putting that antifreeze in his Gatorade if you need to. I ain't tripping.
I told you my grandfather was a cop, right? Public. And you know, I never forget. He had to have fresh bread my grandmother had to make fresh bread, no matter how hot it was.
Mm-hmm.
That bread better been made when Rufus came off his shift.
Rufus?
One day,
that nigga was an abuser for sure. You ain't never met a nice nigga named Rufus.
He wasn't.
Never.
He was one of the first black sergeants, you know, and man, it was like, I used to hear stories about how bad he was, man. He was a, you know what. Yeah. But he died alone.
Awesome. I love that for him.
You know, he died alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If my granddaddy wasn't rich, he would die alone too. Trey, he would die alone too. If he wasn't rich, that man would die alone, but he rich, so he still got people around him faking like they like him. Nobody like him though. So Ambassador, do you have any what's your take on the prompt, I guess would be my question. Besides the schemes that women have to do to stay alive.
Let me see. I can't really say anything as a group because I would say, yeah, well, honestly, I can't even say nothing. As a group, I can't say anything because I noticed that I'm very observant of what's going on around me, and usually here, the reasons why a lot of women do certain things is because of the actions of men, and if we realistically speaking, this whole country is built off of the country of men, and so I think it would be quite interesting to see how it would play out if the roles were reversed, where the women were in position like the men were, and see how they would have governed everything and made everything happen to
they did
to where we are now.
They did.
Yeah. In what situation?
We've had matriarchal, societies before, and they ran better than patriarchal societies. They're exactly
where they at?
In
Are
Africa.
you talking about the queen? Oh,
no, a queen wouldn't be queens still are monarchies, right? And monarchies are historically patriarchal. So usually a queen assumes power by being married, to a king, or the king dies, or her father passed away, the patriarch of the family, something like that. But no, I wouldn't. Women.
That's the same way a king gets power, public.
Yeah, but it's his birthright though. As a man, it's not the woman's
right. If the firstborn,
it's not though. It's not though. It's not though, because they would often go around their daughters to go to their sons. Like if a son was born, it doesn't matter if he was the oldest or the youngest, they would give it to the son. That happened all the time.
Fair.
So it's never the woman's birthright. It's always the boy's birthright, right? Always. It's always the firstborn male's birthright, right? But yeah, men, and here's to Gary's point, men project a lot, right? We project so much that we think that if women, we think that women never had, that societies always ran like the way that they run now. And we don't understand that they were more egalitarian back in the day, right? And they had to be. Societies couldn't, I don't think we would have survived if they weren't egalitarian. I just don't think. And also you guys do realize at one point in time, there was like 70 to 1, or whatever it was, like women to men, right? Like it was so many more women to men.
Because they didn't live as long.
No, it's not. It wasn't. What? That's not what happened. Yeah, they're used to just. Yes, go ahead.
We got Queen Elizabeth. She during I think it was during the early 1700s. She ran the country in a way where there was and I say she did a very good job at it. And she ran the country with a lot of diplomats as far as having different relationships with people. But the thing that she had to do was she had to separate herself from men, which made her more desirable. But she knew that if she had given herself over to a man, they would have had dominance over her or some form of fashion.
But
And so to maintain her power, she had to resist the man. And I think
but
that's what allowed her to run the country well. I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
but no, I just want to say something though. So,
She was married to Prince Andrew.
but wait, no, he's talking about before. But
Oh,
Yeah, I'm talking about the 1700s.
yeah, because this Queen Elizabeth is like the third or some shit like that. But okay. But what I want to point out is that no matter if a queen is the figurehead or not, it's the same thing as Obama being president as a black man, right? He's a black man. He wasn't, but he functioned like a regular Democrat president. He wasn't like, he didn't run the country like a black man would run the country, right? Because racism and capitalism still existed. So it wasn't like he was freed from those systems of oppression. You know what I'm saying? If you're the CEO of a company, there are bylaws within that company, and there's a board of people who hired you and can fire you. So if you don't act right, they will do that. Same thing with queens. If you don't act right, they'll overthrow you. If a queen, if here's what I'm saying, if a queen came into power and said, "Men, you guys can no longer grape women, at will. Men, you guys can no longer just marry off your daughters for land. Men,
it would be a coup.
It would be a coup. That's what I'm saying. If she actually started to address the patriarchy, they would overthrow her, and they know that. So then they have to operate within that system. The same way if Obama came in and was like, "Hey, black people, we gonna give everybody reparations. We gonna give everybody health care. We gonna relieve student loan debt. We gonna give everybody free college." That what happened to Trump when the bullet missed, it wouldn't have missed for Obama. It wouldn't have missed, right? He would have been JFK part 2.0. You see what I'm saying? When JFK said he was gonna pull the U.S. out of Vietnam, when Trump said he was gonna pull the troops out of or stop funding Ukraine, the military-industrial complex does not play. They do not play. So if a woman is a figurehead of a country, it doesn't mean she actually, just because a woman is in charge, it doesn't mean that the patriarchy no longer exists and now we're under a matriarchy. That's not how it works, right? Because she didn't come in and say, "Hey, also, hey men, your lineage will not be traced back to you to your name." So like, so when you have kids, they won't have your last name; they'll have the woman's last name. If she would have said that alone, the men would have plotted against her. 1,000% chance. If any queen would have came into power and been like, "Men, your child will not have your last name; they'll have the woman's last name." Get the pitchforks.
Yeah.
So yeah, they no matter what. So don't. We haven't seen it in our time. We haven't seen it. Not in the West. We haven't seen a woman, actually be in power and have full autonomy. We don't know. We don't know what that looks like. We have no idea what that looks like.
Would you say it happened in Africa though, right?
Years ago, yeah. I'm saying at one point in time, there were significantly more women than men. Significantly more women than men. It couldn't be it just couldn't be a patriarchy. And you know what I'm saying? Like not in the literal sense, but I'm saying it just wouldn't have happened. It just wouldn't have happened. It just didn't make any sense. So when the world was that way, the wars weren't being fought like I'm not saying there weren't any skirmishes or fights or whatever, but it wasn't like how it is now. It wasn't. The kids were taken care of, the men were taken care of, the children, the women were taken care of. Everybody's needs were getting met, right? Because women they're not in the business of exploiting people. As a group, they're not in the business of exploitation. That's not their thing. Their thing isn't to exploit people. As a group, there are some women who don't mind exploiting people. No doubt about it. But when you get a collective of women, they're not interested in that. Go ahead, Ambassador.
But here's the thing that there are kingdoms that have been ran very well in the past, and it's been governed by men. And of course, under men's rule, depending on certain situations, depending on how what type of relationships you have, because when you're in power, nothing stays the same. And so, in order to stay in power, you have to perform certain acts to keep your people protected, uh, to maintain your position and status in the country. And so, therefore, it requires you to move differently or move out of the norm. And essentially, with that, because you have to move out of the norm, you're forming new habits, you're forming new ways of thinking, new personalities. Now you have
What
to
does that,
become
what,
more
Ambassador? What does that look like? What do you mean by that? I don't know. I don't know what you're saying. What do you mean?
like how we are today. We when one person does something to us, if we're not subconscious of who we are as a person, that when somebody comes and inflict pain on us, if we don't catch it, if we don't clock it right then and there, it could essentially change us and cause us to, you know, conform ourselves to what we're experiencing with that person, which at the same time, um, their pain will become our pain. So
But I don't know
if
what
we're
that means. But what is the relevancy of that right now? Like, what
That,
do you mean?
that's what I'm saying. Like if when you have kings that are running countries, if
Mhm.
they're facing new situations that they've never faced before, it forces you to think differently. It forces you to think ruthless. And so,
Oh, you're trying to excuse the violence that men
no,
perpetuate against society?
no, I'm not excusing it.
Oh, okay.
It can be unexcused if we are aware and wise enough about ourselves. But
Uh,
because we
Joya
face
said, hold on. Joya said, be specific and stop the word salad. I am trying to find what you're trying to say because it sounds like that's what you're saying. It sounds like you're just trying to excuse men's
okay.
violence to me. But that's what I got from what you were saying. So you're not, but you're saying you're not saying that. So what are you trying to say?
Okay, I'm just saying that
Hold on,
No matter
hold on,
who,
Gary. Hold on, Gary. Let him go one more time. Let me. I'm listening.
I'm just saying that a lot of things are produced
Uh-huh.
um, when we're not conscious of our actions, or we're not conscious of our emotions, or we're not conscious of our surroundings.
Okay.
And because we're not conscious, then we can essentially allow those things to affect us. And so, in society, if we put a woman in position, she can probably head the country off in the beginning in a proper way. But let's just say 100 years down the line, it was going good the first time with a woman being in power. Okay, now we say, okay, she did pretty good. Let's give another woman a chance. Then we give another woman a chance. 100 years down the line, then we come to a point where, okay, she's facing a situation where she's been um, conflicted, and so now she has to switch gears because nothing stays the same each century. And so she can essentially become just like the men kings have become, very violent. You understand what I'm saying?
If
I'm
what I'm saying is it once again in if that woman is if all of her enemies are men, then yeah, she might have to become violent because the world is still largely patriarchal. In her country, it could be a matriarchy all she wants it to be. But if you're talking about conflict and violence coming from the outside, that wouldn't be her. Like her, women can defend themselves. I'm not saying women are like weak or anything like that. Like they don't want to fight. It like they don't want to start a fight, but they'll anybody will protect and defend themselves. And women are very capable of doing so. So I'm not worried about that. Like yeah, if some men want to get froggy and you know what I'm saying, the women gonna say leave. Like we got it. I got a military, whatever. I don't. That's not. That wouldn't negate, that wouldn't be like, well, see, women are just like men. Like I don't believe that. It's anybody would react to violence. The question would be, would women be the ones to initiate the violence? That's more what I'm talking about. Because they
okay.
wouldn't be in the vast majority of cases. Would they respond to violence? Who wouldn't? But would they
Have
be
you
the ones to initiate it? Probably 99% chance no.
have you
let
have
me
you
ask
watched the
you
movie
Hold
The
on,
Woman
hold on,
King?
wait. You said what? The Woman King? No, I never watched
Yeah,
it.
you watch it. Okay, the
Mhm.
the if you watch that movie, she
Mhm.
comes to a conclusion in her plans to go to war with this other tribe. But she said, you know what? Let's do this differently. Let's go and attack them without them even knowing it. So she essentially inflicted the violence first. because she's doing it to protect her tribe and prevent these enemies from coming to her tribe. Does that make sense?
Okay, so it was about
So,
protection
so
again.
yeah, it's about protection. But I'm
Proactive.
saying, huh?
He's saying
Proactive.
it's proactive, but even then, that would be one example out of what? See what I'm saying? They're not. It doesn't. What you're saying, basically, what I'm saying, Ambassador, is what you're saying. The reason why that story is so popular is because it's so rare. It's the rarity of it. The novelty of it is what makes it popular. Because that story that you just told, if you applied that same thing to men, that's everyday men. That's men in every situation, right? But when you apply it to women, it's like, what? A woman did that? Because that's fucking rare. That's my point.
Right.
Women
That's
don't
what I
do
was saying. That's what I was saying earlier. Let's say that centuries have passed and you have continued that habit on later on down the line. Now the roles are going to be reversed, and the men or some women are going to say, "Oh, the women are inciting violence," instead of the total opposite. Like I'm
Yeah.
saying, everything starts from something, from a small seed. Nothing is new that we're doing. The women will only be doing what the men have done before because it's inevitable. The situations
Nah.
don't stay the same.
Yeah. That you are assuming that we have to be violent is the problem here.
No, I'm not assuming that. I'm saying if we're not aware of what we're doing in our present state right now, we can essentially repeat history, and that's what we're doing now. Like everything we're doing now in society, where women are decentering men type of deal. This is just an example. Women are decentering men. They've done that before, and
Yeah.
it's never brought anything positive to life. It's just always inflicts violence in some form or fashion. Everything keeps going around in an
Wait,
infinite circle.
women decentering men cause
Mhm.
violence?
No,
Oh,
I'm saying okay. I'm saying nothing. Never mind.
go to the toilet. Hurry up.
Is he okay?
Yeah, my son is a little sick, but he was about to vomit on the ground. I'm like, bro,
Oh yeah, he need to take care of that. Yeah.
yeah, he's sitting right here. He's just chilling. He off from school. Got his little thing over here hacking up stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So quality. Yeah, it's some point it's gonna start as a seed, and eventually, because women are moving the way they're moving, men are gonna incite violence. Then once men start inciting violence, then the women, it's just gonna be a whole hoopla of things going all over the place, and it's repeating itself.
Remember?
You know,
Could be from that.
I just had the opportunity
Okay.
to look up some of the African warlords. A few of them, and I'm looking at Charles Taylor. I'm looking at Joseph Kony. I'm looking at Jean Kambabana, and all these instances, like women have put them in power, and then they just said F it and turned on the whole community and start killing people.
Wait, who did that?
I'm looking at Charles Taylor, Joseph Kony, and Jean Kambana. I'm trying to pronounce that correctly. There's
Who are
also
these?
a few others
Who are
too,
these people?
but these are African warlords,
Oh,
especially
okay,
Charles
okay.
Taylor. But in all these instances, they started out as symbols of hope. A lot of them spoke well, they were articulate, they were working with the communities, and then once they got in, they started to just,
It started to
do
change.
their own thing. And,
Exactly.
and that's the thing, it's like no matter what, in Africa, the next guy says, when I get in, I'm gonna fix it, I'm gonna do it, and he just winds up repeating the same thing that the last warlord did.
Yeah, it's an inevitable cycle. Like it's going to continue to keep repeating itself because somebody wants to dominate the previous person. Somebody wants to do better than the previous person. They want to supersede the last leader. And this is where greed, this is where um, selfishness, a lot of certain behaviors get exploited because now they're in a position of power and they're feeling like, oh, I'm invincible. Now I can make these certain actions, and it'll essentially turn into something. It'll turn into something violent. This is just human nature. This is human nature. It's not just a woman and man thing. This is a human nature thing. So us saying that us
Especially
for the women.
in the terms of
Mhm.
some of these African warlords here, they use a lot of the division that already existed between certain tribal risks, and they use that as a justification to do mass orders of genocide.
What are y'all talking about, man? Hey, hold on.
Oh, you can
Y'all
still hear
wild.
us, public?
Yeah, I
You
can
can
hear
still hear
y'all.
us?
If
Oh,
you can
okay.
hear him and he can hear you, then I can hear y'all because y'all are coming through two different things. But let me
Oh,
read
okay.
this. Maud said, "Woman King fought because she was told to by a man." The fuck? Uh, let me see what else. Who incites the violence? Quickly, I guess they're saying men and women.
Is your son okay?
He's sick, so
Okay. He got some medication, or
no, no, no.